Hey folks, John with A&J Outdoors, and today I'm giving you a little tech tip, a way to add navigation to your boat that doesn't break the bank. So let's go check it out. So when we got the Grady White, the electronics on it were old, some of it wasn't working, so I decided I wanted to put dual 9-inch Simrads right here. Okay, this is gonna be one piece cover. They're gonna be inserted in it. Right now there is a new 9-inch already mounted in there. That's in other videos that I did already. But I watched a lot of other boating channels, right? Sailing, especially folks out in the ocean, and I seen a lot of them using phones or even iPads for navigation. Now I have Navionics, which is an app on my phone. I think it's $25 a year, and I've had it for a long time, and I'm very familiar with it because my last few graphs that I've owned have all used Navionics. So I started looking closer at these other folks and found some folks that tell you how they're doing it, because you think about it, a phone or an iPad, once you're out on the boat, one, you lose Wi-Fi if that's what you're relying on, and if you're going offshore probably 6 or 7 miles out, depending on where you're at, you're going to lose cellular connection too. So you're kind of SOL, right? But with Navionics, cool thing about Navionics is you download the map of the area that you want, so it's on your pad or phone or whatever, right? So you don't have to be connected to the internet or anything, Wi-Fi or anything, to have that. So you have that. But how does it track you on that map if you're not connected? Well, if you have, of course, your phone or a cellular iPad, which is what we happen to have, it has a GPS antenna in it, right? And so I'm able to be offshore, have my map up from Navionics, and the GPS in the iPad will track us on that map, so we can set waypoints, we can do everything you do with a graph. Okay, we just happened to have one a couple years ago. We changed our phone service, and one of the things they did was they gave us a cellular iPad. Of course, they're like, hey, you have a cellular plan you'll have to pay for, but the iPad's free. And so we both had iPads already, so it kind of just sat there for a couple of years. And then when I learned this, I was like, wait a minute. And I checked into it. Yes, it's cellular, and you don't have to have a data plan for that to work. The GPS is going to work whether you have a data plan or not. It just has to be a cellular model to have that GPS antenna in it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. So here's what I've done. I'll show you. There's my 10-inch iPad, right? You got Navionics up already. It's touch screen. I can do anything you want. Go menu, right? Adjust things. Select a route manually or automatic. Everything that a regular graph does. Okay. So these things you can get, depending on where you look, $500–600 for a graph, Lowrance, Simrad, Garmin, any of those. If you're going to use one of those graphs, you're going to pay well over $1,000. The 9-inch Simrad I have was $1,300. All right. No, this is not going to be a fish finder, right? It doesn't hook to a transducer. It doesn't hook to a radar, right? So this is just for navigation. But then that's what the Simrad's for. I'll use a Simrad for fish finder, this for navigation, and then in the future when I add radar, autopilot, then I'll start deciding if I'm going to expand and add the second Simrad, which for now I do plan to do that, but it's a money thing. Again, these are a lot cheaper, so if you want to add navigation to your boat, a cheap way to do it is right there in front of us. Okay, just get an iPad. You can buy them off Amazon. You don't have to have the data plan, and they're cheaper than the graphs that are equally sized. All right, so let's take a look at how we power this thing. All right, first, this is the mount, right? And it's kind of like a ram mount if you're familiar with them, right? You got the handle here, you turn, these loosen, and you can make all kinds of adjustments. You can move it any way you want. This slides in and out, and then you just, this clip here locks it in place when you got it on your iPad the size you want it to be. There's a lot of different ones like this on Amazon. I'll put a link to this one down below if you want to just get the same one I've got. And then another issue was with charging. I started reading some of those folks who were using these, and they said that the battery was using up power faster than their charger could charge it. So you need a high-speed charger, right? The port and the cable. So again, Amazon to the rescue. I found a high-speed charger, right? And it came with cable. It also came with a wall plug, which of course I'm not going to use. But so the charger I just installed right here. You can push a little button, it lights up and shows you that it's got power. It's got the USB-C plug and a regular USB plug on the bottom. So you can plug in, I could plug my phone in here at the same time, charge my phone and this. So that was a simple install. I just drilled through here with a hole saw, and then I wired it. It's wired into the fuse panel back behind the dash, right? Comes up into this box, and then there it is right there. So pretty simple install. This too, right? Just 4 screws, pre-drill little holes, drive the screws in, and this thing comes apart. There's a way to take it off if I remember how. There you go. Right? So it just snaps on and off. So that's the basis of it. So again, I'll put all that down below. So now I've got Navionics mapping system that I'm used to using. That cost me, well, we already had the iPad, but you could spend anywhere from $300 to $600 probably on an iPad, cellular iPad. If you use one of the other type of pads, a different brand, Samsung, whoever, you're going to have to look into it and just make sure it has that cellular capability so that you know you've got that GPS antenna, because that's the important part. Without that, after a couple miles offshore, this thing's not going to do nothing for me. Okay, so I'll put a link to the plug I used and the mount I used, and then one more thing before I go. So now I've got this iPad mounted here. What about splash, rain, weather? iPads aren't waterproof, right? They don't sell them that way. So what I did was bought a case for it, a waterproof case. It still lets you plug it in, right? This is the one I've got. I don't have it on the iPad yet because I just haven't used this thing out on the water yet. But this is what I'll be using. And again, there's all kinds of cases. You can get really fancy ones. This was a very affordable one, had good reviews, and it fits my iPad. So I'll put a link to that in the description down below too. So now my iPad is protected. It's not going to get wet and ruined. So yeah, I think it's going to be a great system. You all can do this one yourself. Again, it's super simple. That Simrad without a transducer, luckily I already had a transducer, but without a transducer was $1,300. So with a transducer, it's probably $1,400 to $1,600. Again, this iPad brand new without a data plan, off of Amazon. I've seen them anywhere, depending on the size, anywhere from $300 to $600. So a lot of savings, even when you add the plug and the mount for it. All right, super simple. I told you I was going to keep it quick and simple. Links below for that stuff if you want to copy what I've done, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace out.